think so.
Yeah, well, we'll get there. We'll get there. Let me refresh this. We going. Hey, chat, let us know if we're good here.
Or should we play Dan Arnold in the captain spot?
Here, I don't think. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, I look at chat and all I see is Dan Arnold conversation. Welcome to everybody. I got a haircut today, and in the NBA chat, I got the comparison to Justin Bieber. I got a lead singer of an emo band, so we're rocking out. The funny thing is, I've had this similar haircut for a long time now. I've just worn a hat for like the last, I don't know, year and a half plus. Boys, how are we? It's three fellas talking football. We got the Cowboys and the Saints.
Yeah, I remember when you went fancy. That was like almost
fancy.
Yeah, that was a year or two ago.
3 years ago now, dude.
Oh, damn.
Fancied it up. Yeah.
Anyone wants to see old school Lofty, they can look up his DraftKings. Right. What was that? What were those called? The Road to the Final or whatever?
Oh, no. What was the DraftKings? They like brought a studio. I was living. We bought a house.
Super high tech, man. Like
bro. We bought a house a year and a half ago, and we were living in an apartment and like outside of Philly. It was fine, but it wasn't anything crazy. And they bring in like all of this equipment. You might not be able to fit all of this. It was ridiculous. Like, all right, we want to get some B-reel too. It was an entire day's worth of filming to get, what was it, like a 5-minute video or something?
Yeah. You got and you got the Bales benching in his apartment and Condia in the yellow Lambo. Some classics.
Yes.
Okay. Now I'm caught back up.
Contenders. It was Contenders.
Good times.
DraftKings contend, and you know what else? They had the drone to go over Condia's Lambo.
Sick.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Going we're happy to have you with us.
Shout to Antoine. You're right, Antoine. You were the first on him. We're all into it now. I think sort of. We'll get there.
You're stuck with that guy.
Yeah,
so.
that's true.
He was the first.
Dude. Antoine was way into it in one of our From A to B shows a couple weeks ago. Was talking about Dan Arnold, and I think we were all just like, we'll see what happens, and then went out on Thanksgiving and just murdered everyone. It's good stuff.
All right, Antoine. Yeah, hey, you know what? Give credit where credit's due, right?
Yeah.
We got a pretty good game to talk about, and I might have some hot takes on this slate. I don't know. I just did the DraftKings Sweat Show, and they did a segment on the Showdown. And I feel like some of the takes might have been a little bit hotter than they were hoping for or expecting. But
came in too hot?
Might have came. I didn't think so. It's a fucking Showdown slate, dude.
Yeah, did you call your co-host a dickhead or something? Like, what happened here, man?
No. That didn't happen. But what I'm saying is, if you're not like taking some risks in a Showdown slate and you're like, all right, well, I think Alvin Kamara, Drew Brees, and Ezekiel Elliott are very good plays. Good luck, guys. Who are you helping? I'm not telling you to play Noah Brown. I'm just saying that I got a couple things up my sleeve. That's all. Before we get into it, I just want to know, we got some people in chat. Hit the video with a thumbs up if you like our content, if you enjoy hanging out with us, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell as well if you want to get start time for all the shows as they come out. But do you guys play Red Dead Redemption 2? I need to know this because Ben wants to live vicariously, Andrew, through my Red Dead Redemption 2 playing. And he was refusing to buy the game, but wants to live through me, and he wants me to tell him my stories on my journeys through the Wild West.
The last video game system I had a PlayStation at one point. Like,
It's on PlayStation, Ben.
What?
It's on PlayStation.
Yeah, but he probably means PS1 or something.
Yeah, I'm stuck in like Madden 98, Battletoads.
Okay.
Like I can't be doing I miss Red Dead Redemption 1. Is that a prerequisite to this thing that's taking over?
I never played it. I never played it.
You played Grand Theft Auto 3 at some point in your life, right, Ben? Like, I'm not a big video game guy either, but I still put 60 hours into that game. It's the same thing. I mean, it was, same idea.
I definitely didn't own that. I didn't own that
Good
game.
knows what's up. He says RDR2, Red Dead Redemption 2 is so good. You're damn right. It's phenomenal. And not just that, I haven't bought a video game in like, I think 15 months. I bought Call of Duty World War II, which was pretty. It's the last game, and then before that, it was Rory McIlroy golf, like 4 years ago. So Ben, I'm in the same boat, but it's worth it. You have to do it. That's all I'm saying.
Well, after I win Showdown tonight, I will take some of those winnings, and just for you, I will somehow buy the system that I need and then buy this game, and I'll go exploring in the Wild West. How's that?
You will thank me later. Andrew, do you play it?
Not really. I've kind of been trying to get back into it since I moved down here like 6 months ago. I've spent $300 on video games, and I've put 30 hours into them tops. Like I don't know. It's just like not the same for me as it used to be. I need to have money on the line.
Yeah. Well, I'm a worse person than I was before I started playing it. I've done some gruesomely terrible things in that game.
Oh my god. Right. I mean, I have a lot of experience with the Grand Theft Auto games and the awful shit you could do to people. It's bad.
Oh yeah. I hogtied a guy and laid him down on the train tracks. I mean, I've had some fun, I'll tell you that much. All right, and that's the least of it. But I don't want people to think I'm some type of sadistic human, because I'm not. It's a video game. All right. Let's get into it, boys. Go buy the game. Thank me later. Even if you don't play video games like myself, it's fun, and we can have some fun discussions on the side.
Do we have a promo code if you buy it?
Yes. RDR2 Awesomeo. All right, let's do it. Saints, Cowboys. Ben, Cowboys 7.5-point dogs at home, 51.5-point total. I actually think, and look, you know what? You're usually the one that's like, I see it playing out like this when everyone says I see it playing out like this. I've seen so many people have been like 7.5 points. That's crazy. I actually think this game stays competitive. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually on those kind of a weird island, and sometimes it burns you, like Carolina against the Steelers. I think this game stays competitive. I think the Cowboys have a real shot to win the game. That's just me. Now, obviously, I've been shorting the Saints with terrible success lately. They are outside their dome. They're in a different dome here. But I don't think that this game is a shootout necessarily. I would take the under in the game. I think it's more of a grinded out, time of possession becomes pertinent. And and this is a huge if, because the Saints can stop the run. But if the Cowboys are somewhat effective with Zeke on the ground, I do think that they have the edge here.
Dylan says, don't sleep on the Saints. They'll win tonight. Bro, I don't think anyone's sleeping on the Saints. I can't sleep
on them.
No, it's not about sleeping on the Saints. It's simply about Cowboys have a lot to play for here. I am taking standings into this, Andrew, and you don't have to agree with me, but I want to throw this to you so we can kind of set the stage. The Cowboys have a 1-game lead in the division. The Eagles play the Redskins on Monday night with Colt McCoy at the helm after Alex Smith, pulled a Joe Theismann. This is a critical game in the way that the division will shift or stay the same, and they take a stranglehold on it as they go deeper into the season. So I do not think the Cowboys lay down and die and put up the same performance as we've seen from the Bengals and the Eagles and the Falcons. What do you think about this game?
I think that's fine. The Cowboys certainly have a lot to play for. The problem with that is that the Saints are way, way better. So,
of course they are.
But
any given Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. Any given Thursday, you can see three fellas just talking some shit about. No, I think that they will. I kind of agree with both of you. I kind of agree with you guys in that I think it will be a bit more of a grinded out, slower pace. Both teams are going to be trying to run the ball, but I still think the Saints. I don't know. I think that's a very fair line. I think it's a good line, but I don't think that the Cowboys really have all that. I don't know. They've got a chance certainly, but I would absolutely take the Saints and feel very comfortable with it as far as actually winning the game. But yeah, the Saints are not they're not just pounding the crap out of people, or if they are, they're doing it on the ground. Like when they beat the crap out of the Eagles, they did a ton of the work on the ground. Like Drew Brees is throwing 20 times a game. It's weird. Not really what you expect from the Saints being such a prolific offense, but they're not taking their foot off the gas, but they're winning games with time of possession, which is a little more rare in the sort of modern NFL. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is. And I just, here's all I'm saying. People are looking at this game like a massive shootout. I think the Saints score points because the Saints always score points. That's not Ben, that's not what I'm saying. The Saints are going to score. But I do think that if there was ever a game where they might not drop a 40 burger, it could be today. And you know what? Vegas, to some extent, does agree with me. Like a 51.5 total for any Saints game is pretty low. They still have a high total. There's no question. Like, again, I expect them to score points. But I also think that this game might come down, in the fourth quarter, it should still be competitive. That's all I'm saying. Now, how do we play that? Well, that's a good question. How are you playing this game? Who are your top targets? Let's start with the captain spot.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously I'm building enough teams where I can mix and match some things, but I am basing the overall narrative that the Cowboys keep this game close. So obviously I think the first question with captain is you can do one of two things in any slate, but here more than ever. There's a handful, whether it's the two quarterbacks, Kamara, Michael Thomas, the studs, and Zeke. Do you want to use them in one of the captain spots, and that's going to sacrifice probably another one of them? Or is there a punt that you want to punt captain, and then you could probably get 4 of them in there? I mostly paid up at captain. I have a lot of Dak at captain. I used both Michael Thomas and Kamara at captain in spots. I didn't really feel comfortable with really truly punting the captain spot. I know it helps get more of those guys in. I just didn't see anyone really low that I think can even hold their own to the extent where if one of those guys goes really nuts, it's going to be hard not to use them in the captain spot.
What about you, Andrew?
Well, I think it's I'm basically in that same wavelength where I'm mostly paying up at captain. It's mostly Kamara and Dak for me. I think this is different than, and it's sort of what we've been saying the whole time, is like, even though there are going to be some probably really big performances and there's some monster studs here, there's probably just not going to be a ton of plays. So it's not like Chiefs-Rams where all these 12 studs are going to go off together. I think that we're probably going to see some kind of big performance, but I don't think the big studs are super well correlated together. You know what I mean? Like, the Saints, you rarely see like Kamara and Thomas score 35 points apiece. So I'm kind of going one or the other there for the most part. Playing plenty of Zeke because I think you can afford it, but I don't have a whole lot of Zeke in captain.
Yeah, so with Thomas and Kamara, not only do I not think that not only do I agree that it's going to be difficult to get the ceiling games from both of them, right? It's not the Eagles defense. It's not the Bengals defense. It's not the Falcons defense. Let's at least keep in mind. I think it's fair to point out the fact that the Bengals or the Saints have played 3 really bad, struggling defenses over the last 3 weeks. I mean, 3 of the bottom probably 10 defenses in the league right now as a whole. So the Dallas Cowboys defense has not been that bad. And that to me stands out. When you talk about this team, it's a Cowboys defense that has at least been serviceable in both facets of the game. Run defense DVOA is ranked, I think 8th. Pass defense is lower, but it's not like they've got the worst corners in the league. So I'm actually leaning Kamara. And then I actually have a couple lineups with Kamara and Ingram both in it in case this game goes ground heavy. It's possible. But honestly, Ben, and to see where you're at here talking running backs, just where you prioritize, for me, it's so hard to ignore Ezekiel Elliott. Even if I thought that the Saints were going to rack up points on him and go up early by 2 or 3 scores, it wouldn't matter to me because I still think Zeke's going to see 7, 8, 9 targets in the passing game. I mentioned before the season that the reason I loved Ezekiel Elliott so much is because there's simply no way with the wide receivers they have. They didn't have Cooper at the time, but there's no way that he was going to see, the same ineffective or not be involved in the passing game as he was in seasons past. He saw 38 targets last year, 40 in his rookie season. He already has 62 targets with 4 or 5 games to go. So I think Zeke, in terms of safety on a team where there isn't a Mark Ingram breathing down his neck, at the goal line. To me, I do see him as one of the safest plays. Maybe the safe. I think actually I'm going to put is that I'll just take a stand. I have Elliott as my safest play on this slate.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. In small fields, things like that, I have Zeke in the captain spot. For that reason, I think he is the safest just because he's game script proof. The Cowboys, if they're trailing, are going to lean on him. If the Cowboys win this game, it's going to be because of him, barring Dak. Yes, could he vulture all the touchdowns? Yeah, he can. He's been scoring on the ground himself, but I don't really worry about that too much. That's why I like Dak as well. It's interesting. I'm not trying to hate on the Saints, but out of this mini stretch where they've just been demolishing teams, 2 were in their dome, and the game that really confused me was that game in Cincinnati. But now when I look at what Cincinnati is, it's not as confusing. At the time, I thought that the Bengals were a lot better. I mean, we just saw what Baker did to them. That defense is in shambles. So this will be a tougher test. Now, the way Breeze is commanding that offense, obviously, we will see what they're made of once again. But I do think that this will be one of the tougher tests they've seen to try to stop this offense.
Do you guys not think that that's an... So I agree with you that this is a much tougher test for the Saints, but I actually think that's an argument for the Saints offense as far as fantasy goes. Because they've just been beating the living shit out of teams, and they haven't really put up crazy numbers because Breeze is, like I was saying earlier, throwing the ball 20, 25 times because he hasn't had to. Like, if Dallas puts up a fight and plays some decent defense and, like, hangs in the game and Zeke's running effectively, I'm a little dubious of that. But whatever, if it's, like, more of a competitive game, I think that means the Saints have to actually produce more offense.
I think it makes it more predictable on the Saints side. Like, they will lean on the guys, Michael Thomas, Kamara, the big guy, we've seen them open it up to Carr, Kirkwood, Dan Arnold, and those guys, of course, could one of them get involved? Absolutely. I am very skeptical across the board on those guys.
So am I, unquestionably. Not just that. Okay. You have Alvin Kamara and you've got Michael Thomas, right? And then we have Traquan Smith, fellas. Traquan Smith had an amazing game. He erupted against an Eagles defense that
sorry, fella.
I'm laughing before you are, guy. Look, I will to pay some respect to the fact that they've got second and third stringers out there. Like, legitimately, half of their second team is on the IR. Okay. But still, the Eagles got shredded from the jump. Out of the gate, it was over. Traquan Smith had an amazing game, and the kid's super, super talented. Like, I love his future prospects. But as Ben pointed out, and I don't know if you're referring to Smith too, maybe the Arnolds of this world and such, but I'd throw Smith in the same category here. He definitely has superior upside to everybody on the team that isn't named, Kamara, Ingram, and well, actually might even have more than Ingram at this rate, and Thomas, but he's still very risky, man. Like, he has one game with 13 targets, then he got injured. Outside of that, he has a 6-target game and nothing above that, Ben. So as much as I love Traquan Smith and think on a showdown slate, you definitely get some in there at 6,800 because of his raw talent. He's no lock to follow up last game's performance either.
No, not at all. He's the one I don't put him, and I don't think many people do, in the bucket with those guys because, they're Dan Arnold, Carr, Kirkwood. There's a real chance some of them see 0 targets.
Smith is in a tier of his own.
He's the clear wide receiver too if he's healthy.
Yes,
so
and he's in a range with all the backup quarterbacks in terms of price. He's like the only guy you're either paying up to Amari Cooper and then all the studs, or you're going down to like Gallup, the kickers, the defenses. So for me, the problem I ran into, I had a couple lineups where I just needed someone, price isn't overly important, but I had to roll the dice there. And I don't mind. I think he'll be a sneaky captain, and I get that play because if you get him, in the 5%, 10% outcome, you just talked about it. His upside is up there with anyone on the slate. The problem is he's a legit candidate to not be involved at all. You can't say that about Kamara, Michael Thomas, and the actual good players.
Exactly. And that's kind of what it comes down to, Andrew. You're looking at a team where you have in the high tier Alvin Kamara and Thomas. And then you have Ingram, who is kind of in his own world because Ingram can just erupt for a monster game, and he's done it several times this year. But it very much depends on whether or not they're getting, if Dan Arnold's getting tackled at the 1, if Kamara or Thomas goes down at the 1 and Ingram punches it in, because he needs that often, whereas Kamara is a lot more dynamic. And then Traquan Smith just kind of sits there. We know he's super talented, but like Ben said, you either go up to Kamara or you go down to a field goal kicker or Dan Arnold.
Who's honestly the kicker tonight. Will Lutz is not the worst play in the world, I don't think.
No. I actually have quite a bit of him, to be honest.
Yeah, I do too. I had to limit him on my crunches because it was like, oh, wow, I don't really want to have 50% Will Lutz. But he's a hell of a lot safer than... I mean, that's the problem with the Saints, right? Like, they have all these creative players that are all potentially scary, and it's kind of a damned if you do, damned if you don't situation, because it feels like if you don't play any of them, like, you're going to get burned by whoever. But if you're doing dumb stuff like playing a ton of Josh Hill, or who was the $800 wide receiver Ben was just talking about? I forget his name now. I have, yeah.
He doesn't deserve a name.
Yeah, exactly. If you're playing a car, then if you play him, he's gonna be awful. If you don't play him, he's more. I mean, that's obviously not true. Your own playing has nothing to do with the actual outcome of the game, but it feels like one of those situations, right? It's.
I love playing guys that don't even have a headshot. Like Rico Gathers has a headshot, but Austin Card doesn't.
Did you know Rico Gathers played basketball? Did you know he was a basketball player? Rico
never heard that, not once.
Oh God, I thought you were being serious there. Like, what are you talking? Of course, I know he's playing. That's
all you ever hear.
Because
you see
he's
him
so
for
bad at.
Exactly.
Yeah, because he's so bad at football.
You see him for 3 snaps, and they're like, "That guy was a monster athlete in college." Like, cool.
Yeah. You took the wrong path, pal. For all
he wasn't that good at basketball. I saw him play a lot. He took his only path. No offense, Rico, but.
Yeah, you are you are a basketball guy. You probably know more about Rico Gathers than anyone should ever know.
Yeah, I watched him play a lot. Guy can rebound like no other. Legitimately, like 20 rebounds a game. Can't shoot a free throw to save his life, though. But
speaking of awful jokes, do you remember the couple of years ago when the Bucks it was Mike Evans and Vincent Jackson, and then who was the tight end they drafted that had the huge pedigree, flamed out pretty fast? Oh, Austin Seferian-Jenkins. And there were just a million jokes of like, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going to lead the league in rebounding this year. I'll tell you that much.
Oh God, yeah, terrible. No, they lead the league in off the field problems is what they did. That guy was just a disaster.
Yeah, and you remember? Around, I think.
Yeah, he's on your Jets, isn't he?
Yeah, I was about to say, but
I meant a disaster with Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
But so okay, let's kind of circle back here and get on track.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, I don't care. It's good as long as we remember to get back where we're going, because we only got 20 minutes here. And if you guys have any questions in chat, feel free to throw them at us. We will happily. Wait, Rico a rebounding monster? Ben is wrong. No, Ben said he was a rebounding monster.
That's true.
Specifically,
that could be wrong, but I don't think it is. But
he said Ben is wrong, and then he said Rico is a rebounding monster.
Oh, that's what I said. Yeah, that part I'm with you.
I don't know. All right, whatever. All right, so
Rico.
we efficiently
way too much Rico talk.
Yeah, it's not good. Have we efficiently conveyed all the players that we have some interest in? If not, let's get all of that out of the way first, and then we'll kind of tie it together in terms of roster construction.
So I have some interest, and this is for no other reason than we just talked about. I don't like chasing some of these guys on the Saints. I have some Dallas defense.
See, I have some Saints defense.
I get that. The price honestly made a huge difference to me, more than I thought it would. But
you got Dallas defense.
Yeah, I have Dallas defense, man, and I really am hoping that they control the clock. Yeah, I know. Rico and now Dallas defense. The walls are closing in New York here. Times are getting tough.
The dog's barking at you.
Yeah, I mean, I don't blame him. It's a sad situation.
Mine is too. I had to mute my mic.
It's not good.
No, I was talking about your dog.
Oh, okay.
Andrew.
Yeah, to all the dogs. I don't even have a dog, but there's some unrest.
You should get a dog.
It fit well with what I was trying to do, and I think I can get by with some Dallas defense in there.
See, the good thing I think about the Dallas defense, this is what I like most about them, and then Andrew, you can play off of this, is that they're not facing a team that scored 30 or more points in 7 straight games.
Okay. I don't care how many points.
Actually, five straight. 30, 45, 51, 48, 31, 24, 43, 33, 43, 21, 40. Yeah, I could see it.
I mean, this could extend my streak of getting a full -4 on defense because I had the Bengals, I had the Jets, so I'm potentially.
I had the Jets going against Buffalo. Against Buffalo, man.
Yeah, Bengals.
All right,
good work.
Go ahead, Andrew.
You have no interest in the Cowboys defense, either of you?
No.
Andrew might. I don't know.
Drew Brees has thrown like 2 picks all year. The Saints' offensive line is good. Like Dallas is pretty good at rushing the passer, but Drew Brees doesn't screw up. You don't play a defense against a quarterback that doesn't screw up.
Pretty much.
I have a fair amount of Saints defense, and I have a fair amount of Saints defense with Cowboys stacks on offense running it back at them.
Me too, baby. Actually, I have a couple Saints defense. I have a captain spot Saints team or Saints captain spot on a couple with Elliott and then Dallas kicker.
Yeah.
Because I know generally like you don't play running back and a kicker together, but you know what? I say screw all the norms on a slate like this because Elliott could do all the heavy lifting. Lattimore's looked better lately, Andrew. And the Saints over their last 3 games have 13 sacks, 6 interceptions. They've allowed 17 or fewer points in all of them, and Tyron Smith's out for Dallas.
It's good game script.
Bad.
And it's good game script for the Dallas offense if the Saints get up and if the Saints defense does bad things to them.
Agreed.
Like we always forget this. I mean, I feel like I bang this drum a lot, but just to hit it home, the absolute floor for a defense is -4 points. They cannot do worse than that.
Confirm.
And people, yeah, exactly. You've seen it.
Wait, can they do -8? Can they do -8 in the captain spot or -6?
Oh yeah, probably. Yeah. All right, fair enough. Point taken. But like I had
I'm just curious. I didn't know.
Oh, they definitely
yeah, they definitely can.
I haven't gotten
1.5 times -4 is indeed -6.
I haven't nearly been to the pits of. I've been close to the pits of hell. I don't have a -6 captain spot yet.
Yeah,
go ahead.
That would be sick. But no, so the Rams-Chiefs game, I played a ton of Rams defense, which would have been the purest run ever, and people are like, "Oh my god, the Chiefs are scoring so many points. How could you play the Rams defense?" It's because I don't care what they do if the Rams are $2,000, and if they get a defensive touchdown, they're just smashing. They got 2 defensive touchdowns. They scored 22 points. However, that wasn't even optimal because the game the offensive pieces were too insane. All the Chris Conleys of the world got 25 points at 1.5K too, but you can do it. And I like the Saints defense and Dallas onslaughts offensively coming back at them a lot in this game. I have quite a bit of that.
All right, I do too. Ben, it looks like you're heading in a different direction here.
I certainly am in a different direction. And I don't disagree with any of that. As Andrew knows, I was on the Rams defense heavily. I'm all about that. It's a good thing a lot of times, especially in Showdown, if you have it like that, you're hoping for a Dak pick 6 to start this game and then an onslaught.
And that's the thing is Dak makes mistakes and Breeze doesn't. So that's why me personally, I'm not as interested in Dallas's defense.
So part of the reason I'm interested in Dallas defense, just to try to bring this point back to civilization, is that I think they have more wiggle room in the sense that below 2K, I don't see anybody that I'm really into. Yeah, there's dart throws. But if nobody down there does much, and I know what you're saying, there's so many of them, somebody probably will. But if it's really a wasteland, there's a chance that the way you can construct with Dallas defense in there can be important, not regardless of how they play, but even if they give you 7. And that is part of the reason I'm doing it. Because I agree, Breeze is not the kind of guy where I'm saying, oh, he's going to put up 35, but he's going to throw 3 picks. I do not think that.
Right.
But I do think sub 2K, there's not enough where I'm willing to roll the dice on the defense at home.
Fair enough.
That's fair.
I'll say one more thing about the Saints defense is I just think they are very underrated. Did we not see the same
awesome.
exact – yeah, did we not see the same – and that's why I think they're the best team in the league. And the reason is the Kansas City Chiefs offense is as potent as you'll ever see it. The Rams offense, you can't really stop them. However, they can't stop anyone either. The Saints last year and this year saw their defense start off just terrible, right? Last year it was the Patriots and I forget who else. This year, Tampa dropped 48 on them. Atlanta 30 Vikings. Yep, Vikings.
Week 1 last year. Case Keenum,
Cleveland,
1,000,000 yards. Or no, it's Sam Bradford. Sam Bradford hung like 400 yards on the Saints in week 1 last year.
Was it Bradford?
Yeah.
Was it? Yeah, and then the Patriots in week 2. Yeah. But we've seen it again. The defense is really like starting to strap things down. 13 sacks, 6 interceptions, 17, 7, and 14 points allowed. They've allowed you look and honestly, like I get it. Philadelphia is not playing well, but Carson Wentz is still a good quarterback. They forced him into his worst game of his career. Atlanta, Matt Ryan threw for 340 yards. They only scored 17 points, and that's a divisional game. They always play it tight. Andy Dalton threw for 170 yards, went through for 134 yards. This is a defense that, unlike all those other teams with a super high-powered offense, they actually have ways of stopping teams. And Dallas's one weakness on that offensive line is their pass blocking. So I think you get to Dak. And that's another reason why – let's talk about Amari for a second, Ben. It's another reason why I don't hate Amari, because I do think in the right spot he's dynamic, and we've seen that. He's looked very good. But I see this being a tough match. I hear all this talk about Amari. I guess I am on a different page than a lot of people, because Amari Cooper is you have to have time to get the ball out. Now, do we think that it's going to be Lattimore or Apple? You think it would?
It's Apple it's Apple and a safety or Lattimore.
Yeah.
Solo. And I think it will probably be Lattimore solo on Gallup and then Apple and a safety on Amari Cooper.
That would make sense, because Lattimore's lining up 72%. Well, actually, on the right side this season, Gallup only 29%. Amari Cooper, let's see, 40%. But I don't have the numbers since coming to Dallas. I don't know how much that's changed. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
No, I mean, honestly, Amari is a guy on the slate I'm pretty indifferent to. I'd love to have another possibly too hot take.
I was indifferent to him on Thanksgiving as well.
I was too, as I saw him. He's still running.
We saw the first explosion game together, Laffy. Last year, the Raiders Chiefs game when he
10 for 200
during the show we were doing. Like he's just like, oh, Amari Cooper scored again.
Yeah, he's got 200 yards.
That was on a Thursday, so there you go. It's a kind of situation. Yeah, if you want to mix it up with him, I have a sliver, but honestly, there's so many guys. If I'm going to have money for him, I would try to find a little extra and go get one of that next tier, because I don't have him with the quarterbacks. I certainly don't have him with Thomas, Kamara, and Zeke. Yeah,
I'm with you. Andrew, I do want to know where you're at on Amari. You're good at breaking down defenses. You have to figure that with how well their secondary has looked lately, and I think you would agree that this defense looks so much better. And the run defense, whether you think they were overrated or not, they have still been very good throughout the entirety of the year. How do you see them? You just talked about it a little bit, but how do you see them playing Amari here? Because it stands to reason that, yes, you want to focus on Elliott, but outside of that, you're talking about like Cole Beasley and Allen Hurns and Michael Gallup. Like Amari Cooper is clearly the other guy that you're looking to focus on to take him out of the game.
I do think that, so I think that I don't know that they're necessarily going to move around a whole lot. If Amari moves around, I don't think the Saints are going to move around to try to stop that. But I would imagine that Amari gets more of Apple with safety help, just at least to start, and we'll see what happens there. But I think the guy that's in the really good spot, and the guy that people have been picking on for the Saints all year, is the slot dude, Williams. And I think Cole Beasley is actually, we'll see how popular he gets. I don't think it's a secret that that's been a problem for the Saints, but I really like Cole Beasley a lot. I have a lot of him. I have a lot of Amari too, but that's more because it fits with my game scripts that I'm sort of predicting, where I think the Saints control the game fairly well, and that I'm running a Dallas onslaught, as in like a desperation onslaught. They put up a bunch of garbage points kind of deal. So don't hate Amari, but I think Beasley's the guy.
I think you're right about this, though, just to come back. So Lattimore last week against the Falcons was on Ridley almost,
Right.
exclusively. And then, like you said, Lattimore or Eli Apple and a safety on Julio Jones. Now, Ridley was targeted 13 times, 8 receptions for 93 and a touchdown. But that's not to say Julio Jones went quietly into the night either. He had 11 receptions on 14 yards or on 14 targets. So I'm wondering, is this team, are they so confident right now that it doesn't really, like, they don't think they need to shadow with Lattimore? Who's their D coordinator? Dennis Allen, I think it's
The dime guy. I don't know.
I think it's Dennis Allen. But are they confident enough that there's like, all right, it doesn't matter, we'll stick Eli Apple and a safety on, or is it that they just don't really trust Marshawn Lattimore that much this season? I think it could be one or the other.
I think, yeah, I have no idea how to answer that question, to be honest with you, but I think it is a pretty common strategy for teams to just put their best corner on the number 1 receiver, the number 2 receiver, and just take him out. Just like, you deal with this guy by yourself and you'll be fine, and then we'll put the second corner on the number 1 guy, but there's going to be a safety looking that way the entire time just in case something gets blown up. So I would imagine that's what they try to do, but I also think if Cooper moves from left to right and stuff, I don't think they're going to move around to try to copy that. I think if the Cowboys want to go one way or the other, they're going to be allowed to do that, if that makes sense.
Okay. So let's kind of tie it together, Ben. We I think we got into everybody, unless you want to talk about like Cole Beasley or somebody that we haven't talked about yet, but I'm not sure anyone super excited about that. Go ahead.
No, I don't have much to say on Beasley. I totally get that logic. I have some, probably not. I wish I had more, to be honest, but you can't be overweight on everyone. I have a fair amount. I hope he could be sneaky popular, and that would be not good, because I'm hoping I can get around the field with not that much.
All right. Well, let's do it. We've got about, how many minutes do we have? We got 6.5 minutes.
Jarwin, one last guy, super punt. I do have a fair amount of, just for full disclosure, is that Jarwin guy. He was running a lot of routes when he was out there last week. I would worry about that a little bit more this week with Smith out, because they're probably going to need more tight end blocking help, which might mean not as much of him and more of Swaim. Rico Gathers is dead to me, to the world, to the Cowboys, to be honest. But I think that Jarwin is actually the sneakier receiving option tight end that they have. Then I wouldn't play Swaim, because I think he will have the ball.
Swaim's out.
Okay.
Yeah, there's another guy, though, Dalton.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
He's more of a blocking type from what I've got. I mean, I have limited interest, but I'm with you.
The creator of Snoopy and Charlie Brown and all that.
Yeah, these guys are...
Hey, there's a good question. We only got a couple minutes left in chat. Who is it? Chris Garofalo said, favorite 3-player core. I think it's a good question. Ben.
I mean, it's hard to do that just because of the way it is, but I'll say sure. Dak, Zeke, and the Cowboys defense.
Jeez. All right.
I mean, take that for what it's worth. Just, it's easy to say Kamara, Dak.
Of course.
But,
of course,
to throw a punt in there.
Right. And honestly, if you're playing cash games and Showdown, you might want to find that self-exclude button. So you're talking... You're talking tournaments, strictly
I'm not playing
massive field tournaments. That's why, this is not a strategy for playing head-to-heads, just so we're clear. What about you, Andrew?
Kamara, Dak, Beasley.
That's a good one.
Kamara, Dak, Beasley. All right. Not Dak. I'm going to go Zeke, Kamara, and what's crazy? I won't give you a specific player here, but I will say Kamara, Elliott, and then either Saints D or one of the kickers. I think I'm going to have one of them in most lineups, because it actually frees things up, and it makes it so I don't have to play, Dan Arnold. I just feel like I could get from, I don't know, Brett Maher or Lutz. I'm pretty certain that I could get maybe 10+ points from them. When it comes to Arnold or Tommy Lee Lewis, I don't feel too great.
Don't play him.
Yeah, no.
There you go. No Tommy Lee Lewis. So definitely better than Tommy Lee Lewis.
Yep, you can eliminate him.
Yeah, get him out of there. All right. Let's see. 4 minutes. Let's do it. Let's do what we always do here, fellas. Captain spot, and we talked about it a little bit earlier. Captain spot, the winning lineup, as you know, what is it, $250,000 to first?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Who is second? In the cap?
It's mine tonight.
$7 or something?
Stupid joke.
Yeah.
I mean, literally, it probably factors out to what, $20 once you figure all the ties. Winning lineup has who in the captain spot? Andrew.
Alvin Kamara.
All right, Ben.
I'll say Dak.
Those are the two options. Sorry.
I was gonna say Elliott, but
Zeke has the highest. Like Zeke's got the highest projection. I think. I just think I don't know. He strikes me as the second highest scoring player in this game, if that makes sense. Like one way or the other.
Yeah, sure. It makes sense to me. I'm going to go just off the board here. Saints D. I think Saints D has been good enough lately to give you a good game. I mean, honestly, you look at their production, man, and if the Saints D has like 13 real fantasy points or 15 real fantasy points, gives you 22 in the captain spot and allows me to get Kamara, Elliott, Breeze, Traquan Smith, and whoever else, which is what I've done in spots, I think there's a path to success there. But of course, it's the showdown slate, so who the hell knows? All right, final scores. Let's do it. Do the Cowboys cover, Ben?
I'll say 45-0 Saints. No, I'm just kidding. After all that, I'll say 20. Imagine just
you would really have people scratching
heads.
This
team's gonna blow it. I'll say 27-24 Cowboys.
You got the Cowboys winning.
Yeah, 27-24.
All right, Andrew.
Fish. I got 28-17 Saints.
28-17 Saints. Give me 27. I like the 27. 21 Saints. So Cowboys cover here, but Saints still win. All right. This has been a blast, boys. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Great luck tonight. Before you head out, hit that thumbs up button if you enjoyed the show. Subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'll see you back here next Thursday on Three Fellas. What are we doing, Andrew?
We're gonna go cop Red Dead Redemption 2. Wait, what?
No, we're talking football. We're talking football.
But
you were close.
I was ready.
What are we doing, Ben?
We're talking
football.
There we go.
That's how you do it.
There we go. That's how we do. Exactly.
That's how we do it.
I was trying to find the stop streaming button at the bottom of the corner. All right, thanks.
We're getting Red Dead Redemption.